Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary to share another contemplative focus with you. A contemplative focus, of course, is a focus that directs our attention to our true nature. And our true nature is something that we can only think about, can only be conceptual unless we meditate. And if we meditate, then we create balance. And that balance is simply that the external, the objective focus that we are so entrained in automatically begins to be balanced by a focus that goes to the subjective aspect of our existence, of our experience, of who we are. And so, with that in mind, my entrainment for or focus this one is simply smile. Blissful consciousness animates our cells, all of our cells, rendering each a smiling face. Imagine trillions of smiling faces as the essence of who you truly are. If we become aware of our smiling cells, our faces will naturally break into a smile. A smiling face can be seen as a recognition of our blissful consciousness and an affirmation of life as light. If yes is the mantra of life truthfully lived, with Source as blissful consciousness, then the smile is its logo. And this is really an entrainment, of course, that was given to us by Master Charles, our teacher here at Synchronicity Sanctuary. And it was an emphasis on going in and staying in, developing a constancy in the experience of who we truly are, and that's an energetic it's an energetic experience. It has nothing to do with any concepts, and it's naturally blissful, it's naturally elevating, and it brings you to a point in your own, so we say, life experience where you smile all the time. Even if your lips aren't smiling, you're smiling on the inside, because it's just a natural state of who we truly are. It's a natural state of that which has created all and everything, whatever name you want to give to that. And so that's really ultimately the only message that you ever really need to get if you're inspired to follow up with practicing meditation and developing the balance within yourself that will allow you to affirm from your own experience what these words are pointing to. And that's really true of all the contemplations that I share here that were given to us over the many years of his teaching, and they all guided us and gave us a focus that would lead us to the truth of who we are. And that is the blessings of having a living master in your life. It's challenging because we're so used to being focused outside. Even now as I'm speaking here, looking at the camera, that's an external focus. But while I'm doing this, while I'm having this experience of live streaming, it's also balanced out by an internal happening, an internal experience of the subjective in my life, in my experience in this moment. And that subjective experience is one of blissful consciousness. It may not be extreme all the time, but it's, I don't want to try to describe it. It's just something that's invaluable, that makes life worth living no matter what's going on. So, in essence, we're all smiling faces. We're all naturally blissful because there is only one sourceful consciousness, one blissful consciousness, and that is the truth of all reality, and all that we experience as humans is a pretense. It's a pretending to be other than it is as human beings. Billions of human beings. Imagine that kind of creativity, the power of that. And what we do in our lives is we we forget who we are because we're focused on the external all the time. We have no recognition of our true nature at all, and we're seeking that nature. We're seeking happiness. We're seeking fulfillment in some form or another. But every attempt to find that fulfillment from anything that's external to ourselves always ends up short of the mark. And that's just the way life is. And that's ultimately the lesson that we learn, is that we what we're seeking can only be found when we go in ourselves instead of out of ourselves. And so that blissful consciousness experience is one that evolves, we are evolving back to. We came from that experience, we're going back to that experience. And the reason for this is there is an intention in consciousness to fully be itself. And in order to fully be itself, it has to experience itself. And so here we are playing the game where experience can happen, because without the relative field of experience, the positive and negative, there can be no experience, because experience is really just generated out of a contrast between two polarities or more. And so that's the essence of all experience. And so in order to have the theater of our human experience, we have to have a field where everything is polarized. Everything is internal and external, good or bad, big or small, and on and on and on. So we're here in this field, we're here experiencing ourselves at whatever level, and we're experiencing ourselves either negatively or positively. And depends on how much balance we have created. It's really so simple. It's like if you meditate every day and really give yourself to that meditation, eventually you'll get there. But it takes work, it takes focus, and you have to live a life accordingly in order to generate enough balance to have the experience of discovering your true nature. In other words, of being blissful consciousness, where all your cells are smiling faces. And I know that way back when I first began meditating, what's got me started was that very experience, where my human life, which was not very blissful, to be truthful, at that time, was interrupted by a moment of awakening, and I experienced my true nature, and that experience has generated everything in my life since that moment, and that's been a long time ago, about 40 years ago, and I have no regrets over that. I've done what I could do, and I've generated enough balance in myself to have some blissful consciousness experience in mind, moment to moment to moment. So, and that's just something that I constantly keep working at. I keep meditating every day so that I maintain, if not grow, that experience. And that's because it has so much priority in my life, because it is fulfilling. Just one taste is fulfilling for quite a long time. And so when I look at my life before, where I was trying to find fulfillment from things outside myself, in relationship, in drugs, and whatever, a new car, whatever, a good job, always looking for something outside to make me happy. And of course, we find things that temporarily make us feel happy relative to where we think we are when we're looking. But if you look at yourself truthfully, everything you've ever encountered in life generates problems and more work, and sometimes it's the opposite of what you were looking for in the first place, which is to be blissful consciousness, even though you're not aware or you don't use that kind of terminology in what you're seeking. We're all seeking some form of fulfillment, and whatever we're sold on when we're growing up as the path to get there ends up being insufficient. It drives us for a while. It can make you be something, somebody. You can have a job or a practice or a profession that you find fulfilling, and yet there's still something missing from that. There's something from yourself, something from within yourself that is not yet sparked that spark that makes you fully alive and smiling and just not caring about anything, because you're living in the reality of your true nature, which is the true nature of everything on earth and earth itself. And so whether you're fully employed, let's say, or looking for a job, or you're living in a mansion, or you're just barely getting by, your ultimate truth does not depend on any of these things at all. But to get there and to practice meditation and to evolve yourself, let's say, to the point where you actually have the experience of what we're pointing to with the smile focus, that a lot of times really requires that total focus on your part. And this is why I came to synchronicity in the first place. Not that my ego wanted to come here, because my ego didn't want to come here. It was that drive inside me beyond the ego that my awakening experience birthed in me. And that was that I wanted that experience as a constant. I didn't want to have it as something that happened then and now it's not, or it's diminished, and so forth and so on. So that overwhelmed my egoic, fear-based experience of, oh gee, I don't want to go be in a ashram and have to live that lifestyle, because I just, I was in my early 50s when I came here, late 40s, and so ingrained in my habit of life that's what I thought I wanted. I wanted to maintain that and be enlightened, if you will. But that didn't work. And ultimately I realized that wasn't going to work. And when I had the opportunity to say yes to living here, where I was going to be doing contemplations like this and meditating at least once, twice, probably oftentimes 3 times a day, and really, really moving myself as much as I possibly could under expert, masterful guidance, well, there was just no contest. I gave up my ego and my fears to join Synchronicity Foundation and journey the journey. And to this day, I'm so happy that I did. It was overcoming my fears about being in an environment where there was that much focus, that much restriction, that much challenge, and that's what helped me get to where I am today, and enabled me to do what I've done and what I'm doing now. So that's really the whole point of this contemplation: smile, because the smile, if it's coming from inside yourself, is a genuine smile. If you're smiling because someone said, have a nice day, and you just unconsciously smile at them because that's what you've been trained to do, and yet you're thinking about, you got to go get gas to get home, you're something other than what that moment is generating, then you're not there yet. So, and also, I began this particular live stream early today because I've had something come up for me today that I have to attend to here at the sanctuary. It's not a big deal, but anyway, so I posting it early, and I'll get to your comments and whatnot later on today and answer and say hello to you. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate you being here, and I enjoy this, and I'm going to go do what I have to do now and smile while I'm doing it. And that's all there is in in life, really. If you're smiling from the inside, you have mastered your life. So until next Monday, I bid you adieu, and I thank you again for being here with us.